periodical news magazines.
My Lords, I'm very grateful to all noble Lords who have spoken for their support and for the powerful speeches that they have given. And I'm very grateful to my noble friend for his clear and comprehensive explanation of the government's position and its firm intention to bring back an amendment at third reading to address that simple objective that I outlined at the start of this debate. I just wonder, because he covered such a lot of ground and this is quite complex stuff, I'm going to, for the benefit of other noble Lords and anyone else following this, play this back at him a little bit, perhaps in sort of plainer English, if I may, although forgive me if some of it maybe not as plain as it would be if I was speaking outside of the House. So what we've heard is the government will be bringing forward an amendment at third reading which will expand the definition of foreign power beyond that in the National Security Act to include individuals that might not otherwise be adequately captured. And I think this is something which has been of particular interest and concern to some of the legal noble Lords who have been following and commenting on my amendment. The amendment will expand the definition of newspaper in the Enterprise Act to include news magazines explicitly. The amendment will give the Secretary of State a new power to issue a foreign state intervention notice if she is notified or becomes aware at any time of possible foreign state involvement to own, control or influence a newspaper or news magazine. Once her order is issued, the CMA must investigate, and if they establish that it is a foreign state as newly defined, any investment or takeover will be blocked. Or, if the investment has already happened, the Secretary of State will have the power to unwind that investment. All of that will come into force once the bill gets royal assent, and it will apply to any live regulatory case alongside the existing procedure the Secretary of State is following. In addition, at third reading, the government will bring forward an amendment to create secondary legislation which will be subject to the affirmative procedure. Those regulations will define what kind of indirect foreign state entity might be allowed to make a passive investment, like a sovereign wealth fund or of a democratic state, say, and include a very low threshold below which such an entity could invest. And the purpose of those regulations will be to preserve the opportunity of legitimate foreign investment in news media. For example, and just I think it helps to get an example to understand what we're talking about here, it's been pointed out to me that the Norwegian State Investment Fund has single-digit investments in News Corp, Reach, which is also known as the Mirror Group, Paramount Global, which owns Channel 5, and Comcast, which owns Sky. Now, to me, what my noble friend has outlined today and my simple interpretation of it makes sense. And I'm very grateful for the Minister for emphasising the very low level investment that the government is considering for the secondary legislation that comes forward. But the precise percentage will matter. And I know he won't be able to commit now to bringing forward the regulations in draft at third reading because there's a lot of work for officials to do between now and then. But I hope he can commit to do as much as he can at third reading to provide the detail that we're going to need to properly be satisfied that what then follows will meet all of our concerns. But overall, I want to congratulate my noble friend and the Media Minister, Julia Lopez, for bringing forward such a comprehensive proposal. And on the basis of what my noble friend has committed today, I will withdraw my amendment. Of course, as my noble friend knows, I do reserve the right to retable it at third reading and divide the House then, if for whatever reason what has been promised is not delivered. But my priority now, and I mean this most sincerely, is to work with the Minister to ensure the adequacy of the amendments that come forward at third reading. My noble friend Lord Forsyth has already asked that I and my co-sponsors be consulted, and I understand from what my noble friend said in response to that he is agreeable to that, and I'm sure the noble lords will want the opportunity to make sure that at third reading we are able to agree to what is brought forward and discharge the bill back to the Commons for their consideration. But with that, I beg leave to withdraw my amendment.
Is it your Lordship's pleasure that Amendment 67 be withdrawn? Amendment by leave withdrawn. In clause 148, Amendment 68, Baroness Bennett of Manor Castle.